Ever scrolled past three membership ads in a row and couldn't tell one from the other by the time you got to the fourth? That's not an accident. That's what happens when everyone copies the same person. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through why that instinct backfires and what to do instead. I put together the exact process that I use, the questions that pull out my specific story instead of letting me default to borrowed language. I put this into a worksheet. If you would like a copy, just drop me a line and I'll send it over right away. There's no pitch, there's no email to be given, just the tool. So here's the behavior that I want to talk about, because almost every flipper building something online does this without even noticing. They see someone succeeding. They've got good engagement, growing audience, membership clearly working, and some part of our brains says we need to do what they're doing. Borrow the language, borrow the structure. If it's working for them, it's got to work for me, right? And that feels like a safe move. It's not copying exactly, it's modeling. We're just modeling success. At least that's how we justify it. But watch what happens when we do this. We end up sounding like the person we're modeling, which means to anyone scrolling past both the ads, they sound like everyone else who's modeling that same person. Here's the part that doesn't get said enough. The reason that person's positioning worked in the first place usually isn't the language itself. It's that the language came from something specific to them, a story that actually happened to them, a mistake that they made, a market they lived through. That person modeling didn't live through that the same way. They can't copy the sentence. They can copy the sentence, but they can't copy the feeling that they had. So the instinct backfires in a specific way. They think that they're borrowing credibility. What they're doing is erasing the one thing that could have made them memorable. The fact that their version of the story is different from ours. Here's what to do instead, and it's simpler than people think. Instead of asking what's working for them, ask what's true about my own situation that I could use in my version of this story. For me, that's the fact that the market shifted mid-rehab on my first flip. The fact that the cabinet maker delayed my job by 2 months, right when money was the tightest. The fact that the house sat for over 8 months. It sold twice, but it fell through twice. Nobody else's positioning can say that because that didn't truly happen to them. They can say it, but not with the same passion that I can because I truly lived it. So that's not weakness that needs to be smoothed into something that sounds like everybody else's story. That's the entire thing that makes it mine. Their data is going to be different from ours. So look, two people can have the exact same membership. They can record the exact same content, exact same information, but it's simply going to resonate with certain people more than it will others. One person is probably going to stand out better simply because of the personalities and how it's being delivered. So what works for me may not work for your audience, simply because what resonates with my audience may not resonate with yours. So that's the whole thing. Be authentic. And that's the whole difference between the red ocean and the blue ocean position. The red ocean is competing on the same language everyone else is already using. The passive income, the freedom, the scale. Whereas the blue ocean is standing on one true thing about our situation that competitors can't say because a competitor did not live it. So when sitting down to write the positioning, and if we notice that we're starting to copy someone else's language that we saw somewhere else, that's a signal to stop, not to polish it to make it look better, but go back instead and be true to yourself and write something specific about your own story instead. That's the part that nobody can copy. Be authentic, using the examples from your own life. Look, I put together the exact process that I use, the questions that I use to pull out my specific story instead of letting me borrow other people's language. I put this into a worksheet. If you'd like a copy, drop me a line and I'll send it over right away. Again, there's no pitch that you're going to have to go through. There's no give me the email to get it. Just going to give you the tool. Thanks a lot.